kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby, and treat myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. Just treat your body and mind. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Just not get ahead of my time. Oh, but I don't wanna miss you, baby. So I stand up and speak my mind. Oh. Baby, you give me ice and fire.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. Happy short week for those of you who work. Happy Thanksgiving week for those of you who actually enjoy this holiday. Is one of my favorites. And I don't even have to be with people. I just like the thought of Thanksgiving. I just love the thought of just that time that family just normally check in on each other, that friends normally check on each other. If it's no other time of the year, you make that personal contact, not a text or anything like that. Sometimes there's visual pop-ups and surprises of family. So I just get super excited. This is going to be the first year in a long time that I'm actually going to decorate for Christmas on Thanksgiving. This is going to be the first year in my life that I won't be eating typical Thanksgiving food, but I'm super excited about that too, because I be throwing down on the vegan food. So I'll be cooking the meal for hubby and Mikey, because that's Thanksgiving's his holiday. He wants it all. He wants all his cakes, his gravies, and sweet potatoes with sugar in it, all of that stuff. Because believe it or not, sweet potatoes in its natural form is good for you. But I'm super excited. Like I woke up this week just feeling this is the week. So I hope all of you enjoy. I know that this is hard for some people this time of year as well. Like for me, this is the time of the year that I really do miss my dad, but I am grateful and thankful that I still have my mom and all of my siblings. And I have a lot of siblings, and it's a blessing to have only lost one sibling in my entire life. And that was a couple years ago. So I'm grateful for that. I am so grateful for being a very happily retired woman and, being comfortable in it, being free in it. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to encourage others to find their love, their lane, their light, and ride that for the rest of their lives, especially when they get to that 40 and 50 year mark. The reality of it is when you see 50, there's not another 50 years coming, most likely. There are some chosen few. We do our best. I'm just hoping that I at least go with my family history on my mom's side, and they normally live very long. So I wanted to just say to everybody that if you're having a tough week, I know I was seeing Stan's comments saying, I know that, times like this, the joy of it may not be as great, but just be grateful in the fact that you still have her beside you. A husband last year don't have their wife, battling the same thing. So it is some gratefulness in that. And we just continue to pray that she continues to fight without pain and that she gets better sooner than later. Don D, good morning. Saw you in the chat. Luke, saw you. Good morning. Joey D, great show last night. I listened to the entire thing. Actually inspired me. I always say colubrids to me are some of the easiest snakes to keep. I can tell you that my corn snake is unbothered. You bother him, he's fine. You unbother him, he's fine. He's good with that either way. But the husbandry of them is less intense than any other animal that we keep. They are very self-sufficient. I don't know if you know who Russell DeBritz is. I have tried to get Russell DeBritz to do social media. He used to be one of the top retic breeders. He stopped breeding them as much or not at all. But he was like one of the people that I first started seeing with retics. But he's a big colubrid guy. He got some of the dopest colubrids you're ever going to see. I don't know if you follow him on IG, but if you don't, you definitely want to follow Russell DeBritz because you have that passion for them as well. Good morning, Dom. Dom, actually, it's funny you here. I had made a note to talk briefly about the Windhoff breathing system and the cold showers. Now, I have yet. So Ozzy was the one who introduced us to this a couple of years ago. And like they do the plunges and everything. So he actually has his own plunge tub in his house. I still cannot immerse myself into cold water, but cold showers has been a thing for a minute. And I cannot tell you, I never thought that I could let cold water run on me, but like you said in your recent short, if you get past the shock, the benefits of starting your day with a cold shower, feeling that cold water come down on you, and then you learn to breathe through it. That's when the Windhoff breathing treatments teach you, and it helps you understand what your body is going through. Like you think you can't stand the cold, but you really can, type of thing. But yeah, look it up. Look up Windhoff. Try taking and this is what I did. I just started making, because I used to be a hot shower girl, so I just started making my showers colder and colder and colder until I got to that point where I can just go in, walk in, let the water hit me, and just breathe through it. And then I would say after probably the first 60 seconds, you don't even realize you in cold water anymore if you focus on the breathing. It's pretty cool. Great ways to spread fat, to get rid of fat. It helps your cells to actually push fat out your body. And a great way to connect mentally in ways and challenge. It actually is a challenge. Like it's a way of working with the endorphins in your brain to make yourself like do things that you normally couldn't do, or I'm gonna say can't do, normally wouldn't do, because you can do it. That's why we get through it at some point. But yeah, Phil, I saw Phil in here. Good morning, Phil, my brother Phil. Shout out to the PA breeders. Look like they had a great time in Scranton. And it was a really good show. So great job to everybody who was able to vent, and you did have a great day. That was definitely encouraging, great to hear. Like I said before, depending on the show, depending on the location, depending on where it is, everybody has different results, and you just got to keep plugging at it. Can't give up on it. Oops, I put my tree up already. The funny thing, Kara Shay, I, for the last 5 years, haven't been able to put up a tree because I have so many animals now. There's no space, really. The trees, I like real trees. So if I put a real tree up in here, the retics are going to knock it over. So what I'm going to do is put up a bunch of small trees in different places where they don't normally climb, and then the boughs, and I'm going to do like the poinsettias and just put them in very strategic places and stuff like that. And then focus on the outside. I'm going to try not to add too many more lights because that adds so much more electric, but I definitely wanted to do it festive this year. Thank you, Dominique. So yeah, then this morning we wanted, Let me read this. I love it. And it's funny too, because my 9-year-old put huge outdoor lights on it, so it kind of be looking goofy in the daytime. Yeah, we have people that live on our street who go all out. I mean, like it's one house, I think I said it before. I don't care what the holiday is, they go crazy. Halloween was hysterical. It was all kinds of stuff, big spiders and webs outside. People literally look like ghosts hanging from the house, and it was all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Stuff coming out the ground with hands. It was just really cool. I love to see it. Hey, Christina, good morning. So um, yeah, it was a really good show. A whole bunch of knowledge. Definitely, really, really good show. Oh, cool. Yeah, Russell DeBris is one of those old schoolers. He's been around, and he won't. Another one who just wants to avoid social media because they feel like it's too much drama. But I would love to interview Russell one day, or definitely, I think it would be kind of cool if he does agree to pass him off to you so you can, do the big conglomerate experience with him. And you guys would definitely be able to drill into that part way more than we could. But I definitely admire him. It's definitely amazing. So many things. I guess too, we was talking about different stages of life. At different stages of life, you start to try different things that you otherwise didn't think would be doable. And I'm living so much of the impossible now. And I just try to share that, like anything that I think that has benefited me to an extent that is almost miraculous. I try to share that as well. So good for you, Dawn, for using your platform, because for that might have been the first time someone ever even heard of it. I know for me, the first time I ever heard of it, I always thought hot showers was better, right? The first time I ever heard of it was about 3 years ago when it was introduced to us through Ozzy. So next and up, we want to acknowledge Brian Barchek. And I was going to sing this morning, y'all, but I don't know if I can do it. But I did want to, since we were talking about Thanksgiving, these are the lyrics in one of my favorite songs. I was listening to it the other day. And it's the song that typically I choose if I dance at a funeral, for example. This is the song that I typically choose. I really love this song. It's by Richard Smallwood. Richard Smallwood has a collaboration of awesome songs that can inspire you. Like one of my favorites is Angels Watching Over Me. When I think of my dad, I play that song. But in honor of Brian Barchek, I decided that the lyrics that I wanted to share in our scripture for him today, or our prayer, or our thoughts, is the lyrics to Richard Smallwood's Thank You. And it's pretty much reads, for the many times I've fallen. Actually, I will sing it. For the many times I've fallen, yet you forgave me. Thank you, Lord, I thank you for unmerited favor and your brand new mercies. Thank you. How I thank you for waking me up this morning, for letting me see one more dawning. Thank you, Lord, I thank you. I thank you, Lord. Ooh, for life, health, and strength, for food and for shelter. Thank you, Lord, I thank you. If I had 10,000 tongues, it just wouldn't be enough to say thank you. How I thank you for waking me up this morning, for letting me see one more dawning. Thank you, Lord, I thank you. I thank you, Lord. Ooh, one of my absolute favorite songs, and it goes into thanking him for all the things, for saving my soul, for making me whole. Just so much that we can be thankful for. And especially at the time of illness. Any day could be our last day. So every day that we wake up, we should be thankful. This is one of the songs that I literally meditate to when I'm basking in my gratefulness or my bliss of life. I listen to that song. When it's hard times, I listen to that song because we should be thankful and grateful in the highs and the lows. And I think it makes the difference of where we are and who we are when we go through things such as Brian. So shout out to Brian Barchak, who I clearly is thankful. He's thankful even in the darkest moments. And so if there's ever an epitome of what we want to see, God's grace in a person and their faith work, he is an example of it. So yeah. So we will get into our yes, we need the examples for sure. Good morning, bro. Our topic, and the topic is simply, I just realized, hold on, y'all. Bear with me. Let me fix that real fast. Ain't nobody even say nothing. Let's see if I can enter. I don't want this to hurt y'all ears, so let me turn it down. Here we go. Yep, it's gonna hurt y'all ears in just a second. I'm sorry. I try not to. There we go. All right. So like balance is our topic. It had the wrong thumbnail on it. Y'all didn't say nothing. And so specifically on this topic, I want to start because I think it's something that is probably a bigger issue on the pet tuber or the content creator side. I think most of us who breed animals, we have to invest so much in the health of those animals, and we know, like, it's not even an option of the time we have to put into keeping them clean, fresh water, and things like that. Rarely do we do this, but it happens as well because you see people who buy a lot and then sell a lot too. So it definitely happens. So with this being said, I just wanted to remind everyone that our animals are living beings who do need our help to care for them because we have captivated them. They're not free to find their own needs on their own. So one of the things that I see is that, good morning, Greg. A lot of people get caught up into, I'll hear people say, I have too many animals, or I don't need any more animals. But then it becomes this intense need to add more animals for social media content, right? Be careful of that. Like, because these are animals that you still have to take care of. And the reason why many of us or many people do content creation is to educate, uplift, encourage people to be better keepers. Hoarding animals, and we kind of talked on that before, is not good animal keeping. So if you already have too many animals or enough animals that you don't feel like you can tend to on a daily basis, then adding more to just do social media promo or social media clout or social media existence is very irresponsible. You can use, there are animals, for example, I use myself that people never see. Like the other day, I posted the blood boa. I don't post her as much or post them as much as I do my retakes, because my retakes are out all the time. It's just a given. So a lot of times you get a lot of shots of retakes because they're out all the time. So it's easy to like get that footage of them. But there is still a retake that y'all hardly ever see because she doesn't come out as much as the other ones because she just like to sit at the corner and watch, and that's the Motley Tiger. But she's also the one that's on most of my promo stuff because she's one of my absolute favorite snakes. And one of the coolest things about her is as a retake, she really does have a ball python personality. She is not active at all compared to all the other ones. She's a big girl, but when she comes out, she don't have any interest of climbing over stuff, knocking stuff over. The most you might see her do is go find a corner and chill in that corner and just be observant of all the other retakes. She'll watch to see what everybody else doing, what's going down, what you're doing, but she don't need all of the like. I have retakes who will come out and they immediately they want to touch me. They want you to touch them immediately. Come on, let's touch, let's hug, let's do the things we do. Let's go over here, let's go over there. She's not like that. So you can use the animals that you have now and just kind of sparse out the content because most people that's following you are not the same people every single time. I don't know how many times that I'll show the cow and people say, I didn't know you have a cow. The cow is actually one of the animals I show the most. On so many levels, like because it's one of my favorite animals because of where it comes from. So I notice though when I show her or if I post videos of her or things like that, people still have never seen her. You hear me say that I can have another retake, and I mean it as much as and it's hard, but that's more room to house that animal because even if you get it as a baby, where is it going to go when it gets to full term? People don't think about that. It's not an animal that you just can put in pictures. And this is not just with retics. That's anything with ball pythons. If you have 100 and you can't put eyes on 100 ball pythons, I say at least every other day, you don't need 101 ball python. Those animals need to, like, it troubles me when I know that I cleaned the night before and then I come down in the morning and I have to actually, hey Dre, I have to actually tend to snake poop in a ball python enclosure. It bothers me more than the bigger snakes because the bigger snakes at least have room, most likely, to maneuver around the big pile of shit that they left, but the smaller snakes do not. So, and I'll use Dre for an example. I think people look at people such as Dre or himself, right? And hey, Carrie, good morning. Marshmallow. People look at Dre for an example, but I joke with Dre a lot. If you watch Dre, most of the time he's in a live cleaning his animals as he's doing his live. So I would say Dre has to clean way more because his facility where most of his animals are not where he is. Where I can literally run downstairs, say, or look on the camera, oh, that animal pooped. I doubt if Dre want to roll out his bed 3:00 every morning when the camera showed him a retic poop. So when he goes there, he can't say like I do. I can say, I'm just going to clean all the breeding ball pythons today, and then I'll clean the hatchlings tomorrow. I can do that, those systems. Or I can say, I'm going to clean the rats this morning and all the big snakes this afternoon because they're in the same place. So assuming that, people don't necessarily know what lamps or how much Dre has to move to take care of his collection the way that they have to be taken care of, other people kind of pile onto that because Dre may make it look easy or Dre may make it look good. But I know in the background, there's a lot of work that goes in to that. And Dre still works a full-time job. So you got to think about that too. Like, so when I talk about pet life balance, it's important to understand because at the end of the day, if all you're doing is taking care of animals every single day and you have no outlet to enjoy what you like to enjoy outside of those animals, it's just like anything else. It's going to become something that is a task and not something that you enjoy. It's not going to be something that you're passionate about. Wait, Dre, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I agree. It'll definitely become stagnant. But I think also that's going to come with if you actually have a passion for keeping these animals. We see it, a lot of people kind of get into the hobby for the wrong reasons. And honestly, if you get into the hobby to just make a quick buck, then don't get into it. Because it's not gonna pan out the way you want it to pan out. But just kind of looking at the animals that I have, I'm very selective on what animals I get, what animals I keep, and I'm lucky to have the ones I have, just because of the kind of bond I've created with those animals. But it it still takes a lot to deal with them. I got 20 snakes now. It still takes a lot to be able to handle all of them, clean all of them, feed all of them. I was like, what was it, last night? I went to go feed my snakes at midnight. I was running all day, and I was like, they need to eat. So we did a late night feeding. At the end of the day, it's got to get done. So I think somebody said it in the comment. You kind of have to build your life around the animals. You chose to keep them, so you have to figure out how to make it work for you. And that's really what it's all about. So, I mean, this Nicole, no, I don't never sleep. I'm always up, so it's always I'm feeding, cleaning. 90% of the time, if I'm on live on TikTok, I'm cleaning tubs, cleaning cages, and just talking while I do it, because you can never keep them too clean. So.
And that's a good point, changing your life. So Carrie, for example, know that we normally would take a vacation every 3 months to the islands. When I decided to breed, that was no longer an option. And that was something that I did methodically. Every 3 months we were on an island. And so even with that, thinking about your partner, because like at some point Slim had to realize, well, shit, we ain't going to be doing what we normally do anymore. Now we do try to still do our NARBCs and stuff like that, so we do get vacations. We do go one big island a year, but that part of it is that I'm not comfortable. And Ozzy talked about this. Y'all just starting to see Ozzy travel the last 3 years. He was a person who never traveled with all the money he had, never traveled because he was afraid to leave those animals that helps him make all of that money. And he wasn't at a point of trusting or his, having the support where he can trust people to take care of the caliber of animals that he produced. So then, think about it. That's 17, 18 years of breeding and not having a life. Although you got millions of dollars, your life is surrounded around these animals. So we joke and laugh about him being gone all the time now, but that's years of built up. Not being able to live your life that he gets to do now because he has those things in place. Children are older now. He has support, now, and he has people who he can trust now, because it takes years to build up a whole lot of trust to have some people to keep the caliber of animals that some of us keep. And he definitely just not passing off. Here's my collection. I'm going off for 2 weeks and come back and just assume that everything's going to be okay. So building your life around these animals. So you got to think about that. Now, the great thing about ball pythons, for the most part, is you could get away with leaving them for a week. Just leaving with adequate amount of water, but you still have that stress of, did a heating element go wrong?
Yep.
Is everything working the way? Did I get all the alerts on my phone that I should have got? I'm on the plane. Your Inkbird just alerted you that your system is overheating. Well, your phone is on airplane mode. Who's there to catch that alert? Like, who's your backup? Most of the people don't have that. Right now, one of the biggest challenges for us, y'all know that my favorite nephew, who normally would help us when we are away for long times, will help Michael, was stabbed. So he's still healing. He was critically injured earlier in the year. Well, not a couple months ago. So we're waiting for him. Like, he just called me the other day. He was like, Auntie, I got it. I don't feel comfortable yet that he's 100% yet. And these are big animals. So if they had to move a retake or whatever, his injury is in this area. I don't want to do anything that hurt him. So we got to consider those things. I want to address Carrie's question really fast about socializing, specifically with ball python. So I would tell you, as a little girl, keeping a ball python, you're going to have her to resist wanting to have it all the time, because those temperatures are very important. But on the flip side, with a ball python and the temperatures in the house and everything are on point, like I say, if your ambient is 80 or above, she can really take that animal out as much as she wants, except for like we already got her trained not to take it out after feeding and stuff like that. Is it necessary for a ball python? No, but you can have ball pythons. Like I'm telling you, Marshmallow is becoming a ball python that likes people. There's small pythons that like people. That's my Busy. Busy see me, he like a retic. He want to come out. He want to engage. So you can have that with them. The important part is not letting them socialize to the extent where they're not getting what they need, which is in their enclosure, that proper temperature. That in some cases handling them too much can make them go off food too. Like say if it's when you're about to feed them, you don't want to handle them so much by feeding time, but you can't over handle them if the temperature gradients and the comfort of the animal are still being addressed. I will tell you, be careful of letting other people who keep snakes coming over to handle your snake, because if their snakes are ill or if their snake have mites, they can bring that over to your animal or your collection. So be cautious of that. Not saying that you can't let it happen. Very rarely I let people come in this house if they keep animals because of that reason. It just makes me uncomfortable. I have big snakes. I'm not worrying about the ball pythons that much, but these big snakes do climb around on the floors and all that kind of stuff. So anything that somebody's bringing in on their feet or whatever can be an issue. So I can't allow that, that type of traffic. I have to really, really trust you to let you come in that way. And then you got to be cautious. You got to spray people sometimes, even when we are doing certain things. I'm constantly putting hand sanitizer on, washing my hands between different snakes. I don't mix my pythons with my boas, that type of thing. If I'm doing a live example, I will show all the pythons first and then show the boas last, for that reason as well. So it's just different things that you can do, but the animal is always going to pretty much tell you. You can touch a snake and feel it's too cold, but look at temperature gradients. I was just made a post early because it's driving me crazy on TikTok. Stop taking these animals outside. It's cold. If you have on a jacket, if you, the human, have on the jacket, the warm-blooded animal, this is a problem for you to take the cold-blooded animal out right now. Please, that just stresses me out to a whole nother level. And I'm not a person that's going to blast people on their posts. You will get an inbox sometimes, but like I try not to do that too much either. But I try to just let people know, because a lot of times people just don't know. They just started keeping a multitude of animals, even different type of animals. You can take a retic outside at this temperature, but you can't take a ball python or a carpet out in the same temperature. It's just all different things that we have to be considerate of. But no snake right now should be out if you living in the Midwest or East Coast. Shit, hell, Texas was cold a couple weeks ago. So you just got to be careful of, if you need a sweater, if you need a jacket, if you go out on your porch and say, shit, this rigid, your animal damn near will go into shock. And you don't realize that your animal can have subsequent issues from that one little step out, you spending that minute out on the porch and they freezing to death. Your photo op is not that important. Dre does amazing videos inside. I don't know how, but he does amazing videos. I mean, he does things with the camera and stuff, like get you good colors and all of that. Don't call me for that, call him for that. But you get the same quality of photos. Of course, that sunlight makes any animal better. But Dre, I don't know what you do. Like, you can still pull your iridescence out in a video camera.
I just use supplemental lighting. So that's it. It's that, and then I have an ND filter on my lens to kind of just darken it. That way it brings the animal out a little bit more, but that's it. But to your point, like you said earlier, I think a lot of the times, a lot of us kind of make things look easy. So some people just think that they can imitate it, and they're not thinking about the actual welfare of the animal. Me personally, if I got to wear a hoodie outside, not even if I got to wear a hoodie outside, my snakes ain't going. It's a no-brainer. And me personally, if it's not at least like 78, we're not going outside anyway.
And even with
So
that, like we talked about that, it can be 78, but a crazy breeze blowing. That's not good
yeah,
for,
yeah,
especially
and I
not.
think one thing a lot of people forget is they think that there's like a temperature rule across the board, not forgetting that these snakes live in different terrains.
Right.
So a ball python is gonna be able to stand it warmer than maybe, let's say, like a blood python. Blood pythons hate to be hot. They're actually a cooler snake, so you can have them outside at like 75, 76. While python, I'm like, hey, bro, we need a jacket. It's a little cool out here.
Right.
So I think we got to keep that in mind too, to know your species temperature range as well. Me and you both deal with multiple different species of snakes, so we have to keep that in mind when we're dealing with that. Because, like I said, my green tree python or my blood python can deal with the cooler weather, but if we're talking like a ball python or most snakes that are native to Africa or tropical rainforest that like that hot humidity, 72, 73, ain't gonna cut it.
Yep. Greg, I don't even know. I can tell you that I still have with adults and hatchlings probably just less than I'll say about 80 ball pythons. In my personal pet collections, like the ones that's on the whole other side of the house where you see the bigger enclosures and stuff like that, I think it's 22. I think it's right, Dre. That sounds about right. I think it's 22
What?
snakes, my pet animals, not the ball pythons. Like, I think.
I mean, he just said how many animals. He didn't say pet or not.
Oh yeah.
He just
Okay.
said
So
animals.
that's the whole nother thing. So pet snakes is about 22, about 80 breeders. Then I have the lizards, so the ackies, the tegus, the water monitor, the turtles,
She's gonna be getting a
the
rhino
dog,
soon too.
the dogs. The rhino is the last thing that I am going to get
I'm
a
ex-
rhino.
I'm
That
excited
is
for you to get a
for,
rhino though, for real. I'm excited for you to
that's
get a
for
rhino.
sure. That is a must for me.
Rhinos,
So that's that
rhinos are
one.
fun.
But then too, it's a lizard. So
Hmm.
unlike the snakes, lizards are way more self-sufficient to me.
Listen, I've been saying that.
But they do like, they like attention, but they self-sufficient. And what I mean by that is you literally could watch your lizard on a camera at night and watch them figure shit out. Like, I'm gonna give you an
Hmm.
example. You don't have to put crickets in there for a lizard. If they in like outdoor, like Larry is in the garage, so he can get outdoor insects. Larry will find what he wants. His source of water is always there. So it's not like it's filtered, you know what I mean? So it's different from where we gotta physically change water for snakes every single day. Larry shit is filtered. I also think that lizards do have moods where they don't want to be bothered either. Like there are days that Larry wants all of my attention. There are other days that he like, what? Like, yo.
I tell people, lizards, speaking more so to the larger species, are a lot more work than the snakes. They're
For
a
sure.
lot more work. Like when we talk
Sure.
about socializing snakes is one thing, but when you talk about socializing a lizard, especially monitors or those more intelligent species, rhinos, monitors, tegus, that's a whole different ball game.
It definitely is. But it's a lot of fun too. So that's our, I guess, our attraction to them. I know for me, one of the things that keeps me excited with the tegus and the water monsters, specifically the tegus, I never know what mood when I open that daggone thing, either one of them are in. But that's the fun part because then you get to have these conversations with a lizard. Look, I ain't
That's
playing with you
huge.
today. GG, look, get over there. And then they get to understand your
Man,
means of
listen,
communication too. And then Gigi checks herself like, oh, this bitch ain't for it today either. So let me just
hey,
walk out, you know.
facts,
But
because I
it's like
sure do.
they're dogs. That's what I was saying to G the other day when he was talking about how much he loved his tegus. Well, he also liked pit bulls. You know what tegus are, y'all? If you love pit bulls, get a tegu.
Pitbull, yeah, they ain't got no neck, but it's all jaws.
Get a tegu.
Oh,
Or if in some cases, like, and that's another thing to Greg's point. That's Greg, another reason why I feel like I have so much balance because I think I'm that girl who, regardless of what I produce, won't ever have in stock more than 150 ball pythons ever. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's my max. My max of enjoying touching them all. I like to talk to them, so I have to really keep it to a minimum, because the animals I'm breeding are treated with the same level of respect as my animals I keep, except for my kept animals are handled way more, way more. It's just because there's so many, they are part of the house. The grandkids, when they over, going to mess with them more and everything. Now, also having different species, because different species require different levels of care, I'm able to divvy that attention out based on those levels of care. Baby retics, for example, baby retics in a 5540 are in plenty of space. You give them something to climb on, they're going to watch you all day. They get to see you all day. They're going to climb up on it. They don't need as much handling as the bigger retics, who damn sure need to get out today. I need to be out, or every other day. I have never gone a day without letting them out, because that's where I do believe that you get into them doing things like pushing and stuff like that. And I just feel like my animals feel like they don't have to push, because she's going to let us out. And you got some that will come out quicker than others. You open Hefe's right now, Hefe's out right away. He heard the door, I'm coming out. There's others that's going to sit there and just wait a minute, and then they'll come out. And then you got the one I tell you about. She is not even coming out unless you take her out. She'll sit there and just watch everybody else. So having a variety of species, I do think, helps you balance where the care is not monotonous. Maki, good morning. Aloha.
What's up, Maki?
So yeah. And I think too, when you get into breeding, especially during the breeding season, you have to realize, like, I remember that first shift of breeding season for me as a pet keeper, understanding that during that time where the eggs are hatching and you're waiting for first sheds and all that, you're literally spending more time over there than you over here with your pet animals. So I found a way, and y'all see it with the retics. They just learn to coexist. The retics get to come out, and they know how to come over into that other room and just kind of watch what I'm doing there. No, like somebody asked me, don't the retics try to eat the ball pythons? Absolutely not. I don't know if y'all feed any ball pythons to your retics, but mine have no interest and eating the ball pythons. It's even odd that it's almost like the retics know they're so much bigger that they don't even want to go too close to the ball pythons type of thing. Like, they don't cross the ball pythons like they would cross over another retic. So no. Answer to that is I've never seen it. If you have seen it, shoot me a video, but that has never happened. I can tell you that they do everything to avoid the babies. They just kind of hang out. We was doing a live one day on TikTok. I think, Dre, you was on it that day when Charlotte came over, and she just found the space on the rack and kind of moved the drawer, and she just sat there while we was doing the TikTok on the daggone baby rack. It was so funny, but she made her own space. So yeah, I just think having different species help you to to kind of create that balance. So pocketing that, like what Dre said. So if a blood python, let's use an example. I don't know shit about blood pythons. A blood python doesn't, let's say he doesn't need the attention or desire the attention that an older retic may desire. Mm-hmm. So maybe for you, if you like bigger snakes, you get a couple bloods and less retics, And I say to anybody, when they say to me, I've been thinking about getting a retic. Two things I say that's most important than more than anything else is time and space. If you don't have either one of them, don't feel guilty about getting them. Don't feel guilty at all. There's no need to have it. In fact, you're going to create an unhappy animal if you don't give it time and if you won't allow it the space to roam. I can tell you that. Not sure about carpets, about older carpets. My carpet is still young. Right now, my carpet is she's growing, but she's not give or take my attention. Like, I can go in there and grab her. She's not defensive at all, but I never see her desiring to come into the glass, desiring to come out when she see me. She's chilling.
That'll happen more so when she's older. I don't know if you saw, I just got another carpet. She's a female. She's about 4.5, 5 foot, and she's just like Khalifa was active. But just like They mimic green trees, same family. They're more active at night. So definitely, I feel like it's easier to have an environment for them where they can roam freely. Because you can build an enclosure where they can roam freely and you don't have to take them out. I mean, of course, you want to bond with your animal. Versus a retic, you would need like an entire room to give them that type of space. So that's why it's good that you're able to take them out, let them roam, stretch out, and everything like that. But yeah, your carpet is definitely going to get to a point where she's like, all right, come get me.
So I she's not there yet. But just even with that, one of the things, knowing what your animals like to do, we want a retic to wear themselves out. If you got a stairwell, like if you got stairs in your house, let them play on the stairs. They will wear themselves out. You will find they will wear themselves out and find their stuff back home. They'll be in the enclosure before you go to look to put them back in there. You'll be like, well, where's so and so? Back in the enclosure. They tired.
Entertaining too.
That ability, because you know how they move their bodies. They do that pull, grab and pull. I think that wears them out. They be out of breath and everything.
Yeah, especially if they're not, used to it on a regular, and then they're like, I gotta do this again. So, but it's good enrichment, it's good exercise, especially with the snakes that we feed bigger prey items to. It's important. It's important that we get them exercise. Even some of my smaller snakes, definitely.
And Joey D, when you're outside, you don't have on a jacket, so clearly. The weather in Florida is still good.
Yeah, South Florida is a whole different country.
Hey, Candy. Hey, Pike.
What up, Justin?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So yeah, did I just see Spicy? Spicy, where you at?
Yeah, what up, Spicy?
I've been missing Spicy. Candy said, I love my carpet the most. For now.
But I tell people all the time, if you're looking for a snake that doesn't get huge but very active, like I tell people to get carpets. Carpets are very similar with how they act, in my opinion, to retics. They're very active, they're very smart, and that feeding response is no joke.
So I would say they're similar, very similar to retics, but for me, especially comparing babies to babies, the baby retics they born intelligent. Like they figured it all out. Where carpets are more of introverts. They're more of introverts, but very observant. What I would tell you, what I love about my carpet is you can tell, just like the retics, that she knows who I am. She's very intelligent, and everything is eye contact with her. Like she loves eye contact. With a lot of snakes don't.
They are very head sensitive. Like whatever comes across their face, they will react to. So you gotta be careful with that. But
yeah, so I love it. Like she's perfect.
Once you get them to a certain point, though, they are super chill.
No, I can see, and I said this before. I can see why people like carpets, and I can see that they are very, very similar. I would say the retics, as far as feeding response, thinking. You can always see that they're thinking like retics. I feel. But the difference is that I think the retics are they're just so much more bolder. Mines are anyway.
Definitely.
I think they're way more bolder. And that's what I love about retics. I like some of the shit that retics would do. Like outside of them trying to kill themselves, because they can do some dumb stuff too. Like an example. If you got a chandelier, your retic don't know that 80 pounds on a chandelier will take that thing out the wall. So you literally, because they do stuff like that. You be like, oh no, like, and this because it's up high and it hangs, especially with the lights on. It looks so cool to them. They attracted to stuff like that. So it's one of the reasons why I tell people you just let them roam. Yes, but I still have to be just like kids, attentive to what they're doing, because they will do some dumb shit like that, and your whole ceiling end up on the floor because
I had to clean up I sure had to clean up glass over the weekend because I had Cardi B, the big retake out, and I'm trying to clean her enclosure. She had shed, so I was trying to get the shed out, get the poop out, and I let her climb up on the top rack. And what did she do? She knocked two 10-gallon tanks on the floor. Oh my god, dog. Luckily it was empty, but I still had to clean them up. And then once she got up there, she just sat there, like, just stayed there. I was like, okay, why are you sitting still now? My other Django, he don't care. He on the go. He on the go. That's the one thing I can say that I've noticed
the different
about
personalities.
Yeah, I've noticed about like having a big female retic and a big male retic. The male retics are the problem for me. My big male Django, he is more just rambunctious, more like getting into everything versus
They're
Cardi B's
hunting.
just more
They're active.
heavy.
They're curious.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, yeah. But far as like temperament, my females are the moody ones. Like my males never bump. Never. They like, hey baby. They never bump. So you know what someone said, Dre? And I wonder, me and Michael talked about this, and we talked about this when it came to Chala. I honestly believe that male retics got a problem with men, and females love the men. Like I noticed that with Michael, my females are more receptive to him, and my males are more receptive to me. I wonder
what's funny. You know what's funny? I've had Django for almost a year now. I cannot just reach in his enclosure. Cardi B, the one I just got a few months ago, she'll come out and I'm petting her on her head. Django will try to bite for sure, and he does bump. So I'll be like, all right, bro, now you don't know most. Cardi, and she's bigger than he is. She's a sweetheart.
But where did Cardi come from? Cardi came from Pike, right?
Yeah.
Pike handled her.
For sure.
So she's probably like super spoiled.
And that's just like once I get Django out, then he's puppy dog. But in that enclosure, he like, nah, bro, over my dead body.
It's funny, like every retic I have, whether it's male or female, we can just reach in. Except for the purple sunfire, the little mainland. Like that, the little mainland is the one that you better not put your hand in that bit, because she definitely going, and she's going to bite, right? But once she's out, she's fine. But she's very, don't put your hands in here. Don't do that. All the rest of them, I will say there are times like the cow, if I touch her, especially right now that she's still getting her medicines, which it looks like it's getting better. Like, so we hoping it's not, we hoping the biopsy is going to show that it's not cancer. So we like with her, but we've been medicating her so much. She's like real moody right now. If I touch her, she's bumping me. So Michael said, well, maybe because you're the one giving her the medicine. I'm like, no, I just think that.
So, question for you. How was she prior? How was she prior to the medicine? What was her temperament like?
Same. That's what I told Michael. I mean, well, let's say this. She's more irritated with me now. And I think because she know I'm the one who's giving her the medicine. But even then, Michael always, with her and Chala, the two, they're my two big girls, could just go in there and reach and pull them out. Where they'll bump me once or twice. I don't care. I know they won't bite, but they'll bump me once or twice. So that's why I'm like, I wonder if it's a pheromone thing. My males never bump me.
I was just wondering because I've noticed the older my cow is getting big, and the older she gets, I'm noticing she's getting a little more resistant. I'm not gonna say defensive, but a little more resistant. Where she's like she's still handleable. She's still a sweetheart, but getting her out, she'll bump, she'll move. Like, man, what's going on? Like, what you doing? Like, if she thinks everything is food, which, whatever, that's typical. But it kind of makes me wonder, because I've heard, I've talked to a few other people with cows, and they're like, yeah, my cow's a little is either their cow or their pied retic. I've heard a lot about some people's pieds are a little testier.
I've never had the pied personality, but pies are typically more agitated. But
yeah, my pied's a little special, so I named him. He's special. So I named him Bobby Boucher because.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah, he's a dope snake, but like I just noticed it's just certain things he do. I just and he's so I got him from somebody who got him from Ian. But the thing is, I've seen his siblings, and his siblings are like 3 times his size. So I'm trying to get he's you know how remember when I was like, man, Tootsie's small compared to the one CJ got? He's smaller than Tootsie. Tootsie's doing great, by the way. He's smaller than Tootsie.
Mm-hmm.
And his siblings are more like the size of my cow. And then I asked her, come to find out, she was feeding him adult mice. And I was like, why? Uh-uh. So now I'm trying to get him up to size, but Homeboy's just a little third. So we had to name him Bobby Boucher because Juggernaut wasn't cutting it for him. He's my special. He eats good.
So how many retakes you have now? 4?
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to point out that remember.
I know.
Yes. How many berms do you have?
7.
So how many you had? What it was 0 retakes, then 1 retake, then 2 retakes, 3, 4, 5. I'm just gonna say Ray is figuring it out that retakes are better than berms. I'm just saying.
Now I'm gonna let y'all know a little secret. Don't let Nicole lie to y'all. Okay, number one, I say it all my life. I don't care how many retakes I get. I'm always team berm. The reason I don't have as many berms is because I'm not breeding retakes. I'm breeding berms. So I'm specific on what I'm getting. So therefore, it's gonna take a little more time because this pie berm is we gonna make that happen. So don't let her lie to y'all. Now, do I like retakes? I think they're amazing things. However,
Evidence show.
I still prefer my berms. Evidence show. Man, whatever. Nah, but
we're
yeah,
gonna keep counting. We're gonna keep counting. No, I don't know. I just can't never say that a berm would be my favorite. I mean, cool.
How many? You have berms, right?
I do, and I told you the whole thing was I got the berm first, then the retake to see which one I was gonna like the most, and that went downhill. That when I realized that the retake wasn't what people said that it went downhill from there. I fell in love.
I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of the snakes that I keep are literally had a reputation for being this defensive monster, and I'm just like, look at my blood python, look at my green tree python. Though the one snake nobody warned me about is my crazy snake.
So you can't make it again, making it seem easy. Don't make it seem like
we're talking
you ain't got
right
caimans. Okay, I'm just saying. Right, a person who owns a caiman damn sure can keep a retake, in my opinion. I'm just saying.
The one snake that nobody warned me about, that's my craziest snake, the one that I won't handle, is my emerald tree boa. That snake right there wants to be dead. Promise you. Even I'd rather handle the anaconda for sure than the emerald.
Yeah, and that's another thing.
You
still have no desire for anaconda. None.
You want to know what's crazy?
In me.
You think me having an anaconda is crazy? However, I've come to realize retic bites hurt a little bit more than anacondas.
I've never been bit by either.
I've been bit by both, so I'm telling you.
And that's the thing. I have no intent on getting bit by either. The only one I got was the very baby one at Christmas Eve that you jinxed me, but that didn't hurt at all. That's so actually like
jinx you.
You did.
I was just talking to somebody about that too.
That actually you jinxed me. That there's no way in hell that we had this conversation on this day and on this day. It was a total.
Let me tell y'all the story.
I think you sent the message to that particular snake.
Nah. We on Facebook. I forgot what the post was, but I said something.
It might have been
because I remember in the comments. I think.
Okay.
I think we was in that group, and I remember saying. I don't remember what the original post was, but I remember my comment saying,
"If you keep long enough or something like." I
remember saying something like, "If you have multiple snakes, eventually you're going to get bit. If you haven't been bit, then you haven't been keeping long enough." And Nicole was like, "I ain't never been bit." I was like, "Oh, just wait, it's coming." It was like what, like a week later?
It was, I don't think it was a week. It probably been like a couple days later.
Yeah, she was like,
A
she
couple days
messaged me, was
later.
like, I
I said that
got bit.
damn threat.
I was like, I tried to tell you.
It didn't like that, but she was young. She was a baby.
That's the thing. It doesn't hurt. I mean, I'm just because my cow bit me. That was a fitting response. I was trying to change
Now
her
that
water.
can be I can tell you just by the
So
way
here's
that that could be a worse one.
So yeah, she actually bit down, like, and she bit me in the palm of my hand, which I was like, oh, what? Felt different. So I opened her enclosure and I was about to change her water. I've never had issues with her being very defensive. She's always been a sweetheart. So I go to the crazy part is I got in there to get her water, shut her doors, change the water. She didn't bite me until I put the bowl back in and I was taking my hand out. She bit me as I was pulling out. And it was just like right here, like right in the meat of my palm of my hand. But once she realized I wasn't food, she stopped immediately and just kind of coiled her head. Like she balled up like I'm in trouble. And I was like,
Which is funny because you can do that. Like I always tell people with ball pythons, give them the palm of your hand because they can't really grab that. But with a retake, I mean, if y'all never open the mouth of a retake, the teeth look like shark rope. Like if they have rows of teeth like sharks. Like you see this set of teeth, and then there's another set. Like if you ever watch them eat a rabbit when they drop the jaw, those teeth look like when they come out the gums, they look like razors. They look like curved razors. Like so. It's funny because when you're in, like, even like giving a retake medicine, you get to see some of the teeth, but you don't get to see those combat teeth.
You be like, Lord, if I get bit.
Yes, like you can see it. Like you can see if this thing bit me with that pressure, it's gonna. So that's why I just, y'all, I talk, even giving every time I give her medicine is a whole, oh baby, I'm so sorry conversation. I don't want her to associate with me with it. Like, I'm trying to help you. Look at you. You look so much better. You feel so much better.
And
we
that's
have a conversation whether she understand or not.
That's a very delicate situation because that can go completely wrong. Especially with a snake that big, if they get irritated, and then like, is it what type of, is it an injection or is it oral?
So no, so anything is oral. So I prefer to give oral because like her first session of the third, they call it chemotherapy. Like it's not, chemotherapy, you in the medical just mean drug therapy.
Right.
We don't know if she had cancer, but they still call it chemotherapy. So the first set was they gave her 3 shots while she was there. Cause I ain't doing it. I told them that already. I'm not doing it because what I do know is that those shots are thick and it irritates the crap out of them. Even afterwards, she was like so lethargic and everything until we got her back home and everything. Then she kind of got back up. So I prefer to do oral for 2 reasons. I get to see what's happening inside her mouth. When I give her the oral, and I know that I wouldn't be prompted to just open her mouth if I didn't have to give her the oral medicine. Plus, I think for her, the shots was so tasking on her. After I give her the oral, she's still active. Like she's not lethargic. Where those shots are, they made her very, very lethargic. So, Rock, you sold your baby? Did I miss that? He said he's not a part of the retake game anymore. Yeah. I don't know. I just think that you just got to be conscious of your balance. Remember, social media content is great. Shout out to all of the content creators out there.
It's all secondary.
It's all secondary to the care of the animals. And keeping in mind that people are watching. There are times, I don't know where the hell these people come from. Me and Dre have 15, 20,000 people watching the live. I don't know where they come from, who they are. But those 15, you are being impressionable on those 15 or 20,000 people. And you don't know what they saw, what they interpret. Some people probably just come for one confirmation, oh, I can do this with my animal or not. So I love that, most people would say, I can do this with this animal. Like you'll hear me say that a lot lately. Like, I can do this with my pie. I wouldn't suggest everybody going there. There are pies that's sitting at Nerd right now that you do not, even Kevin ain't just going in there hands on. Okay. So, you know what I mean? But it's all in getting to know them, spending time with them. Definitely, when it comes to time, the more you add to your collection, the less time you have to tend to the collection you already have. So definitely keep that up. Yes, some had something for my breeding plans, and he wanted my retake for his breeding plans. So since I've been to his facility and know he's a good keeper, I made the trade. Oh, okay. Got you. Which is another thing. It's just too many people breeding retakes.
Too many people breeding snakes. Period. That's why I'm not in a
Yeah,
rush.
but
I don't
in
think there's
the
any more
ball
breeders than
python
ball
market,
pythons, though.
you can still house a bunch of ball pythons, right? And ball
Yeah, 'cause
pythons
you don't
having
have
clutches
to.
probably about 6 to 14 at max. You have people who barely know how to keep these animals breeding them, and that is a concern. Like, no, you don't, you haven't mastered keeping them yet. And so therefore, hey Tim, people like myself and Tim end up being the people to try to help correct those areas. Like it's just, it's too many people breeding animal they don't understand.
You should see my DMs.
I mean, I'm sure. Like it's
Listen.
just weird to me.
Well, I just told, there's a lady that hit me up the other day. She got a boa, and she's like, yeah, I think people in the reptile community, people overuse the term rescue.
You heard me say all the time. First of all, rescue is a rescue. You
paid money
literally
for it. You didn't rescue it. You purchased an animal.
You bought it, exactly.
But she rescued a boa from Petco, and she said it was like 3 foot, 4 foot, whatever. But she said she was terrified of it and wanted to know about its care. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I know you want to tell yourself that you're doing the right thing, but you should have did research before getting this animal, because all you did was take that animal from one bad situation and put it in another. And I said that doesn't help the animal. So I got blocked for telling the truth. But at the end of the day, if you're not going to do this, like, I just don't understand why people think it's okay to. Like, I've never heard somebody say, "Oh yeah, I just got this pit bull puppy, but I need to know how to care for it." I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but you don't hear stuff like that. But with snakes, people are willing to gamble with that animal. Exactly. But with snakes, most people are willing to gamble with that animal's life, and I don't understand why you would take on something that you're not prepared for, and then when people try to help you, you don't want to follow their instructions, because boas aren't tiny snakes. They get decent size, so they need a pretty nice size enclosure. So it always kind of confuses me when people do this. Like, I really wish they would, like, listen to what they say sometimes. Like, I took in this animal, but now I need to know how to care for it. I'm gonna help you, but I'm gonna let you know before, in the future, if you plan on getting other animals, do your research before. Well, I didn't plan on getting it. Oh, okay, so it was an impulse buy. That makes it a lot worse. So it's like,
well, that's the whole thing. Like, I get messages all the time. First, I said it, I don't rescue animals. You know, I tell people all the time, people ask me all the time, I don't rescue. I don't care what the circumstances is. I care too much about my collection. I get people who can and do. My animals roam, so I can only quarantine to a certain extent, right?
Right.
Because if you got roaming animals, they are roaming into that quarantine area. So so for me, it's not a thing. But if I was going to rescue an animal, it's definitely going to have to be an animal I know a lot about. Like, if I had a facility to rescue retics, I could and I would. You know, and honestly, I wish there were more places for them to go. Like, we can take ball pythons to a pet shop and stuff like that. I wish it was more places like that for retics, but it's not, just because of the reputation that they have and a lot of it being misrepresented. I would tell you, any retic that you give love is going to show you love back, period. But you just got to show it the love. But I think that's the same with a baby ball python. We still laughing with my girl. They so much better now, right?
Poor
but
her.
right? But she was so cute. And I was like, don't feel bad. It's a snake just like any other snake. You have to build that bond because her thing was like, it's not even a big snake. It flies me.
But see, I think with her, she has the means to take care of it. I think she just hasn't gotten to the point to conquer the fear, which is completely different.
But she's so much better now.
She is. I talked to her the other day.
Better now.
But yeah, I'm speaking of, just those people who have no knowledge of these animals at all, don't even have the care, never talk to anybody that's owned a snake. And then they bring in this animal that's way outside of their scope of care. And then, like you said, they expect us to fix it. And it's just like, what the, like, how do you, it's tough.
Right, that is so true. But I just avoid that. Like, I just avoid those type of people, I guess.
I try to help everybody, but once I see you not being receptive, it's your problem now.
Right, Ken. Impulse, but justify what I rescued it. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Absolutely.
I see that all the time, and I've been canceled a time or two because I've made fun of people like that. Like they got the there's I rescued a snake starter pack. Like it is what it is.
So this is right here. This is to be one of the most common things out of that group that used to drive me crazy, the cohabitation post. And how people will argue that it was okay. And I'll give you an example. I truly do believe that you can house retics together in bigger enclosures. I truly believe it. When you have them out, they like attention from each other. They like to commune with each other, all of that. However, if you put two retics in a 10-foot enclosure together, might not be this month, might not be 6 months from now, but
eventually
it's going to be a war in there. You can even see it sometimes when they're out. Like, say if one is not in the mood or one chilling and one comes over there, you'll see them communicate with the other, where it might bump that one and say, like, go ahead, I'm chilling. I know we normally business. Right. So if you imagine that same thing happening inside their enclosures, which they already protective of, right? For the most part, yeah. Or if you put in male and a female, it might not be that bad if they're in breeding times, but when they come outside of those breeding times, you're gonna have I'm a fond believer that those combat teeth is there for other retics more than people. So I would not suggest that at all. They would argue you down. Tim said, often depends on the person. I didn't know anything about prairie dogs when I took it out first. Just have to crash course and take advice. Yeah, it depends on the person, but also we cannot negate that you have military background, Tim.
But also, Tim, I've seen quite a few of your YouTube videos. You can tell that
a minor issue.
You can tell that you're a very just well-educated person, and regardless of what you take in, you have other animals, so you're used to caring for things.
But
most of the people who try to take in reptiles have no background. They don't have any type of education or knowledge to take care of any of these animals, and then they don't do proper research. They just get this animal, and then they will often want to wait until the animal's sick. They often want to wait until the animal's sick, and then they expect people to help them. Now, so that's a good point. It definitely does depend on the person. It just unfortunately seems like more often than not when it comes to reptiles.
To the type of person, because I'm not seriously. When you're in the military, right? it's much in the world. That's a challenge. I don't care what you're taking on. I think people in the military just have a different. Their mindset is different. First of all, they're determined. They're dedicated. They depend on they know the animal depends on them. Tim, I'll use an example. You doing that with the new snake, solid bar. You going in every day doing that series, knowing that you're going to be taking bites from that snake. Most people can't even do that. Like for me, I can take a bite from a snake. I ain't taking no bite from no lizard. So I always, when people be like, why that person got on gloves or whatever, I am that person in that person's comment saying, listen, until you comfortable and you know that animal, use those gloves. Because if that lizard bite you, you ain't ever going to want to own that lizard again. Where I think that like a Tim, whether it's the lizards, because I watch him with Niles, when Niles wasn't so nice, where I'd have been like, Niles, look, you gonna act like you got some sense, so we ain't doing this. He's willing to take on those bites and that abuse. And a lot of normal people, and I'm not saying that people in the military are abnormal, y'all are exceptional.
We reptile keepers ain't none of us normal. So it's okay.
Yeah, right. None of us are normal, but people in the military have a extra set of armor that most of us just don't naturally have. And our ability to, I think that's what also make people like Tim unique, his ability to connect with the animals. Like, I feel like I was an animal in another life, and that's how I'm able to connect with my animals. Some people just know how to survive under any circumstances. So they know how to articulate, communicate, whether it's a human or an animal in all circumstances. I think that's a gift that comes to people who are soldiers because they got to see, hear, and deal with everything. Imagine being in Vietnam and a cobra just end up next to you while you are in hiding and you can't move because you don't want the enemy to know that you're there. See, y'all on those type of mindset. I'm still screaming like hell in my mind.
But I think,
but y'all gotta sit there and be quiet, still keep the eye on the prize. Oh, yeah, nah, gun dropped, I'm gone. Peace, Cobra.
Gun dropped, I'm gone.
That just go.
Oh my God.
Most people don't really want advice. Oh, I got that one. I'm sorry. That's just funny.
But that's a good mindset to have, though. If
Tim's
you're really
just
determined,
exceptional. We're not even gonna sit here and act like he's normal.
if you're really determined to bond with that animal, you're gonna sacrifice a few bites. That's just how it's going to go.
Yeah.
Whether y'all want to glove or
I've never
not.
been bit by a lizard. You know why? Because when them tegus came out that first year and they was in pure goobity, they wasn't the animals they were when they came out, gloves on, and them gloves was up here. What you call them? The big electrician, not the electrician, the welding gloves. That's how I was going in.
I'm be honest with you. I've been bit by a few of my non-snake animals, and I can tell you now that shit hurt. It hurt.
I ain't messing with them lizards. And their gums and the shit they eat gotta be, you gotta get infected if you getting bit. Getting bit by one of them. It's definitely a risk of infection. Getting bit by one of them.
The caiman by far has the more superior bite out of all my animals for sure.
Yeah.
But I still love her though.
Yeah. I think I would assume that the worst bite would be from the tegus because how they shake like pit bulls. People send me TikTok
right there.
Reptiles often, and I cringe. They have so many followers and likes and views, and the reptile sick as fuck and house wrong. Yes, or the guy that Dre can't stand, Nick the Wrangler. Y'all, unfortunately, one day we gonna look at that man gonna be gone. Like he does so much for likes that.
I mean, it ain't just him though. It's a lot of that on TikTok.
I mean, I know, but he ain't gonna make it.
Because if I get one more person to hop in my live, like, hey, why don't you have cobras? I'm like, because cobras ain't an animal any and everybody should be keeping. Shoot, half of y'all can't get ball pythons right. So no, I don't have a cobra. I don't know. And I'm not doing this to please you. I'm doing this because I have the animals that I want, that I enjoy, that I can handle. Yeah.
Let's just use collaboration and blunt feedback. That too.
Heavy on the blunt feedback.
Right. That too. Right. As a vet, I feel we take criticism better than most because that's what you get in the military. Criticism, even when you don't want it. Yeah. Curry, we abnormal. We abnormal. Hey, Angie.
Hey, Angie.
Angie and Jeffy killing TikTok. I'll be catching
Yeah,
some of
I
that.
see they be live a lot.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And good representation of what reptile breeders are supposed to be and what they should present. I really like it because I think Angie and Jeff are showing the people another side, not just the content creating, about these animals type of thing. They're really showing what they go through from a breeding standpoint, how they prepare for shows and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's
What
really
up,
good
Pat?
too to see and people to know. Hey, Pat, for sure. So yeah, love you too, sis.
We love you back.
The queen.
Although y'all
And
thought I was Gershon at first, it's okay.
no, shout out to GP. His birthday was the other day. I actually texted him the other day. His girls are breeding, the girls I got from him. So I wanted him to know.
That's what's up.
So yeah. All right, y'all. We are well over our hour. We thank you again for joining us another Monday morning. We hope that you have a fantastic Thanksgiving week. Share, spread the love.
It is this week. Oh,
It is
right.
this week. Get on it.
I be so lost in the daily. I be forgetting what is when and where is who.
So this is the first. I have to cook 2 different meals. One for myself, which is going to be nothing, and like I said, Michael and them still going to have that shit. Michael will be like, "What you mean, okay? Oh, we going to somebody else's house. Let me go. Going to grandma's house. What you mean, okay?" So I'm gonna still cook for them. I just want to cook as much. I don't think we'll have any surprise visitors this year. Normally I would cook a lot just in case we have some surprise visitors. I don't think we'll have surprise visitors this year. But yeah, that's it. And if y'all not following for anybody who's interested in my journey, my vegan journey, because y'all, it's dope. I'm feeling dope. I'm looking dope. My food be dope. Follow me on my vegan channel. It's a whole separate channel, and it's called Vegan Powers. And it's here on YouTube and on TikTok. If you're interested, to watch it to see how it's doing for me internally to start and what it's doing externally. Tuesday on the left. That's right, Ken. Tuesday, tomorrow, I am on the Let Me Know show. Nicole is his special guest. So tune in. I'm challenging Ken to ask me questions no one has ever asked or no one knows. That's your challenge, Ken. Let's make it different. I'm eating like always so I can grub on Thursday. So I can fully enjoy family time and not be in the kitchen all day Thursday. Yeah. Glad work was slow enough that I could catch the show. Thank you, Ken. Y'all all have an amazing, amazing, amazing week. And we will be seeing you soon. Check out the Let Me Know show tomorrow night.
Y'all be safe and have a good holiday.
Yeah, have an amazing holiday. Enjoy your family and your loved ones.
For sure.